Hello, Mechwarriors, and welcome to the Mechbay, where we fix your mech and fix your game. What's going on, Mechwarriors? I'm your host, Josh. I've got my co-host, Loremaster Denim.
Howdy, howdy.
And our Jade Falcon / Merrick representing player, Steve.
Hello.
And we are the Mechbay Podcast, your number one source for all things casual to competitive tabletop BattleTech. And today, we are unplugging the HVG, hitting the restart button, and talking all about the PAX BattleTech / PAX Unplugged BattleTech news today. Also, we'll have a bunch of games played, so it's a lot of news and games again. Man, we keep getting games in the episodes. Yeah.
Oh no, we play the game.
Yeah, but PAX was amazing. So,
did you go?
I did not go this year, but I have friends who did, and I got lots of pictures and stuff.
I saw some of the pictures come through on the Discord. That was great.
Yeah.
Were there cool things at PAX for BattleTech?
There are. At least this year, not every year.
Yeah. So let's start out first for something that just came out. Force Manual Karita. It's out. All the DCMS players are happy now.
I am happy.
I thought you said you were a Capellan player once you looked at the.
No, I like Capellan mechs. I'm a DCMS player, but I like Capellan mechs.
Suspect.
So will I be getting Force Manual Liao when it comes out? Yeah, I will, because I like to see all the cool mechs.
But not for the lore.
No. I steal the mechs from the Capellans and I use all their mechs.
So right now, I hear it's a race between the PDFs for Il Clan to update both of those, or Force Manual Mercenaries. So it's a race.
It is a race. And either way, we win. So there.
That's true.
I would like to see the Il Clan updates. I do enjoy playing in the Il Clan. I'm one of those grognards who is not restricted to 3025 intro tech. I do like the toys that the Il Clan brings.
It's the only way we can be friends, Denim. I've played too much 3025. I just can't go back.
I mean, I'll run some demo games for it, but I like Il Clan Rifleman. I mean, that's how awesome Il Clan tech is.
Little boy got to glow up. Now he's a man.
Well, we did have the Rifle Boy, and
that's what we're talking about. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we can just hop into the next big thing. Hotspot's Hinterlands. It's landed. It's out. It's
finally
very excited.
I am so happy that people can get their hands on this now. If you enjoyed the Mercenary box set, like, this is the logical next step to go, and it just takes it and runs. It is a fantastic resource. I like it better than the Tukiyid book, and I love the Tukiyid book, but I like this way better.
High praise, Denim. I mean, just between the missions or the tracks, as we're calling them, right? I mean, some of the other lore bits that are tossed in there. I'm excited for all of it. I haven't had an opportunity to play any of the new stuff because I don't have a copy. Because look.
It's available online from the CGL website right now.
I know. I have things. I have a life. I have things to do. But from what I have seen, I'm very excited for it. I can't wait to get my hands on it.
So how are we liking the Hinterlands for the two people that are currently playing the Hinterlands?
I really like the contracts that they have in there. I like the expanded tracks. I like the fluffed out rules. Like, the rules are a little bit more advanced than are in the Mercenary box set. There's some small changes in there that I thought were really well done. I just like how it feels a lot.
I'd agree. I really liked how each mission has, like, or I should say contract has its own, like, background and story, and like you can factor in jump times if you want. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Transport cost means something again.
Again, you can go as deep as you want to with this game.
I think something that's great, I mean, just for me, is in the becoming a mercenary section in the beginning of the book. It talks about before we were building with the mercenaries booklet, kind of out of the mercenaries MUL for your starting group. Now they've got stuff for individual factions. And of course, if you want to be, because you're in the Hinterlands, if you want to be a Jade Falcon, they have little rats that you can take for your starting force out of the Jade Falcon. Right. That's fantastic.
I think it's got Jade Falcon, Hell's Horses, mercenaries, pirates.
Lyrans. The Lyrans are there too.
Of course. Yep. The Lyrans.
He says, of course, like he forgot the main people that have been living there for hundreds of years. This is Lyran erasure, man. But I did notice that it feels a lot more punishing going from the box set to the Hinterlands missions. Like,
I mean, when you win all the time, it's only a little bit more punishing. So,
I actually did keep because I've kept the ledger of all my finances. Like, I transferred it over to the Hinterlands money system, and I was like, oh, we're down some not sea bills, some imaginary sea bills, salvage points, support points. There we go,
support points.
So, yeah, ooh.
But I thought it was a little bit too powerful in the box set anyway. So, yeah, I mean, it brings tension. If you fail, you run out of money a lot faster.
Yeah. That's what I picked up on. Like, these are contracts that will not. What is it? No golden gooses in the Hinterlands.
Right. Yeah, you don't get as many of those 150% outputs, and when you do, it's limited to base 500 SP. It's not based on your modified base pay anymore.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing
in the box set.
That
was a huge thing, and it's that's too powerful. Like, why would you put money in anything other than that from then on?
Right. There's no reason to.
I thought it was a good change. Like, I've started modifying, like, I actually want support points to repair my mechs because they're going to get shot and die.
Yeah, you have to think about whether or not you're going to buy that mech in the shop that you rolled after every track, right? You have to think about whether you're going to do that or not, rather than just auto buy.
Yeah.
If you find that everyone's picking the exact same contract upgrades every single time, things need to be balanced. So that was a very important and good balance.
All right. We will say that we know, just because it's so new and a lot of the terminology is brand new to players. Like, they've never worked with things like variable intensity before. There is errata out on the forums right now that is being updated on a daily basis. So if you have questions, go there to find out the answers to some of your questions.
Right. Check that out first. Or ask us, on the Discord.
Yeah.
We've been through a lot of it, so we can definitely help.
And if you backed the Mercenaries Kickstarter, you should have just gotten an email probably this week or last week with your PDF link to the Mercenaries box set rules. So you can take your Mercenary Company rules with you wherever you go. The Hinterlands, the Periphery.
No, it's absolutely huge, because being able to control F stuff is great. Like, just finding stuff faster on PDF, and the fact that I don't have to worry about this one pamphlet, because where we play at our game shop, there's a bar, and it hasn't happened yet, but I can just foresee this happening. Someone's going to knock a beer over, and the poor mercenary rulebook's just going to get wiped out. So having it, in PDF is a nice assurance.
Right, because that's where all the BSP stuff is. So it's a handy resource to have, for sure.
Yeah, I absolutely love the new BSP rules. I think they're great.
Me too. I mean, I don't know if anyone can tell, but I'm a fan.
This house supports BSPs and mercenaries. All right. Next, we've got the Ilkhan's. I'm going to keep saying Ilkhan's Eyes only. That is the last book that will bring the Capellans, Wolves, and Ilkhan loyal clans up to 3152. So that is coming out soon.
TM.
Yeah.
Do we have a date for that yet? I don't think so. I think it's just on the boat. We'll get here when it gets here.
Yeah, I don't know. I should be more excited for this book than I am, truthfully. We'll get some story beats, and that's cool. But right now, I'm all about Mercenaries games.
They're so much fun.
I mean, I did see a copy that a certain CGL people were flaunting is the correct term, at Southern Assault, and had some beautiful art. Probably the best warship art that we've seen in the last, 20, maybe 30, possibly 40 years in BattleTech.
I don't know. I saw some like that Ghost Bear warship.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That is a pretty picture.
Yeah. I was like, the mechs look great, but the not mech stuff looks better.
Josh, are you telling me you have a secret affair with aerospace that you're not telling us about?
I do have a secret affair with aerospace.
There's no secret about this.
Yeah. As I look over at my Visigoth on my desk. Yes. It's not a phase, Mom.
I learned it from you.
Alrighty. Well, do we want to get in some plastic that we saw?
That's what I need right now. Is more
plastic.
I really, really do.
Everybody loves plastic.
This one, I want to say, is out now-ish. It really just depends on when you can get it. And that is the McCarran's Armored Cavalry Assault Lance.
Right,
yes. And that is a Barnes & Noble exclusive for the next 6 months.
Yep, I know several people that have already gotten hands on those.
My Barnes & Noble near me does not have them, but they almost never have any BattleTech stuff. I have to travel like 30 minutes to the next one.
Terrible.
You know, I call that Barnes & Nobles to tell them to pull them off the shelves, right?
That's true.
But this one has the Tianzong, which we've talked about. It's just a double Gauss Capellan mech. Nothing really to write home about that, right?
Because that's what we need are more twin head capper mechs.
Exactly. I was like, why?
I mean, it puts some fear into your opponent in any mercenary game when you come out there with a dual Gauss mech.
I have a story about a Gauss rifle in a mercenaries game that we'll get to later, and I'm not very happy about having dual Gauss rifles on the field now.
It's only going to get worse.
Yeah. Also is the Jumping Stars. Also is the Jumping Star Slayer.
That's
cool
really the reason why I want this. I like the jumping ones. I like the options it gives me. I like my jumping mechs.
I just want more Star Slayers.
Have either of you painted your Star Slayer from the Mercenaries box set yet?
Shut up, Josh. I'll get there. All
right. That was Steve Denham.
It does not. I said I primed mine, and it doesn't surprise me.
At the same time, I can't. Yeah.
But you didn't ask who.
I know.
Just did anybody.
It
does not surprise me that Steve likes the Star Slayer because it's just a one-armed crab.
It really is just a one-armed inferior crab. And the crab's already inferior, so it's doubly inferior.
Wow. The Star Slayer doesn't have clampy clamps, okay? They're not the same.
Start winning games, we'll start respecting you.
It's not a phase, Mom.
All right, next. Black Knight Repos.
Is it a Black Knight if it doesn't have a sword-shaped hatchet?
It technically is.
It technically is.
Technically, more Black Knights don't have swords / hatchets. So, yeah.
I don't know of any Black Knights that have swords.
I guess they really just copied and made the Nodachi. But, once again, the second iteration is always worse. But I see the hate mail, fan mail section filling up next week.
Have I not killed you with that Nodachi? Like, that sucker's amazing.
You have not. And lastly, the awesome 9Q. So we've got quad PPCs.
I use that one all the time. It's got regular PPCs. They're not even ER PPCs, and I still use it all the time. It is one of my favorite awesomes to bring it on the field.
They're great. I just like PPCs. I am a huge fan of large damage weapons as opposed to like 9 million small ones. I just want to hit something one time and blow off an arm. That's just what I want to do.
I don't know what that's like. Says man who had a heavy Gauss rifle face, but we won't talk about that. But if you may have not noticed, this awesome does have some extra sculpt detailing. Like we all remember the clamp hand from the original awesome. It's been totally redone.
It's a battle fist.
Yeah, everything's been redone. All the details are much crisper, better. Anything that looked like it might have just been a curved part that needed a little love has been redone. So this is almost a fully redone awesome, and not just we glued another PPC in.
I like it. I like it so much. Well, PAX is the Penny Arcade Expo, so it kind of makes sense.
Today I learned.
It is their convention, and it's so popular that it is. I think they've got like 6 of them. They've got PAX East, PAX West, virtual PAX, PAX Australia. They have PAX in Texas somewhere. I don't know.
What
They've got a lot of it.
Do
it's
at
popular.
These?
It's a convention. D&D, BattleTech now. It's a gaming convention for gaming people.
Okay. But not like a tournament convention, more just a hangout convention.
No, it is definitely like a hanging out type of, a lot of panels, kind of more like Dragon Con than anything with tournaments.
Okay.
Yeah, they had a big presence with the red versus blue guys for a long time. The Rooster Teeth. I went to the first one, the first PAX East, and it was an amazing experience.
Sounds like fun. So somehow we got a box set out of this, though?
Oh, yeah. Well, for the last 2 years, Penny Arcade has been running the Black Remnant company. It's a Destiny-based role-playing game that they've been doing. So they use the Destiny RPG, and they have they use Alpha Strike. So they got the Alpha Strike box set to start with, and the BattleTech speed paint set, and they painted a bunch of mechs up, and then just started playing a role playing game, because they did that. They've done that with D&D. They had an ongoing D&D game. It probably still is ongoing for like 15 years. It's been going on. So they do these campaigns, and they go hard. So I guess they decided that they've been going long enough with this that they get their own Command Lance box.
What's in the box?
What's in the box? It kind of looks like Jerry from Penny Arcade just went and it's like, oh, what mechs and models are people interested in getting, different variants for, or what are people screaming about? And we'll just shove them all in one box. Is what it looks like he wanted to do.
So what did they shove in the boxes?
They've got the Dragonfire. They've got the Blood Asp Eye. They've got a repose of the Flashman and the Cyclops 11H with the rocket launchers.
Ooh, disposable missile fire.
But so much damage, so many missiles. As long
as you hit. Otherwise, they just look pretty.
I think they're up to 50 episodes now, 50-something episodes. I'm a little bit behind. They're long, but very enjoyable. I like to have them on the background while I paint. And I haven't painted a lot recently, so I haven't caught up. But I hope I can get my hands on one of these pretty soon.
Do we know when they're supposed to come out?
Well, they were at PAX, of course. They are on a boat, and they should be hitting store shelves like February, something soonish.
That's not bad. Soonish.
Yeah, soonish.
Well,
but if you haven't checked them out and you have any interest in like seeing how an actual game of Destiny, I like it because they don't do any house rules. It's just, here's the Destiny book, here's the Alpha Strike box. We are going to use the rules as they were intended and do a Destiny / Alpha Strike role-playing game. And if you have any interest in that, go to Penny Arcade, go check out the Black Remnants. You will not be disappointed.
And keep eyes peeled for February for new plastic.
Right, Jerry, if you're listening, I will be on your show. You just ask.
I'm definitely excited about the Dragonfire. That's one of those weird Civil War late clan invasion mechs that like we all knew about, but no one really used because the art and the model were just so bad.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'd argue this is a toss up between the Dragonfire and the Falconer on the biggest glow up for Civil War. But
they both needed it.
Both needed it so bad. The Blood Ass is cool. This will be the only way to get a Blood Ass if you're didn't pick one up in the Mercenary Kickstarter.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was only that for the longest
I don't
time.
know if they'll sell that on the store like they did the Urban Mech for a while. Because they had that as the last Kickstarter, but then they had them that you could just go buy in singles on the Catalyst store.
Yeah.
So
it
wouldn't surprise me if they have like any extra stock they will sell on there. But I don't know. So
who knows when that will happen?
Right.
Is the eye different than the one that came out in the Kickstarter?
Oh yeah, we got a prime. The Blood Ass Eye. We're talking heavy Gauss rifle.
More Gauss rifles. Jeez.
More Gauss rifle.
But more importantly, the model's different. It's actually a different chunk of plastic.
Yes.
I'm sorry. It's an improved heavy Gauss rifle. So 22 damage across the full damage range bracket.
Not just in short range.
Not just in short range. I don't approve, but, the 2 re-engineered large lasers in those arms, those approve. Those approve. Yeah, it's still going to explode.
I think I fought against this guy before.
It does sound familiar. And I'm like, why is that?
Yeah, one of the guys at Hangar 18 took it against me. He lost.
I'm trying to think, is this the one that I fought in the Triangle tournament like 3 or 4 episodes ago? It sounds familiar.
I mean, improved heavy Gauss, and yeah, who knows?
Yeah, I'll have to let someone,
it's scary.
Listeners, roll back. It's like, how did I fare against this? If not, anyways, and like you said, then a flash and repose. That's fine. They're always good. I'm okay with reposes. And then the rocket launcher Cyclops H. Like I said, disposable weapons. This will be the first rocket.
Mech.
Yeah, these are the first rocket launchers we'll have in plastic. So I guess we have to teach those rules now, right?
Right, yeah. I'll go over rocket launcher rules. I've used them.
All right. Well, I think we've got another box set that's coming out in apparently quarter one. Quarter one's a long time, but
it's like quarter 1-ish.
Yeah. Put ish on everything.
Ish. That's the 3rd Star League Strike Team. So we've got, like all the other Star League packs that are coming out, we've got a pre-painted model, and this one we get the pre-painted Lament.
Yay for the Lament!
I haven't used one.
In plastic.
I don't know. It's a Lament. There are some other really exciting ones in this, actually. I'm super excited for the plastic Kintaro.
Yep, me too.
All of its claw-having nightmare fuel-looking models.
I've always been a fan of the Kintaro, even before the HBS BattleTech game.
Yeah. They're nasty looking. I mean, just the art makes them look absolutely terrifying, but people are excited for that to come out in plastic. People have wanted one for a long time.
I know I've wanted one for the longest time.
We've got finally we have a plastic Hammerhead, which
that's not a premium one.
Right? You're not going to have chittering lines.
Premium, dude! Premium!
So that's coming. We've got a plastic Jackalope.
Okay.
This one looked much cooler than I imagined what the Jackalope actually looked like. It's definitely one of those weird Republic mechs, but like seeing it in plastic form, I was like, okay, I will run a Jackalope now, not just in my fake imaginary mercenary company.
We've also got the plastic Havoc, which is great. Do you guys remember the show Street Sharks?
Yes.
I don't know why, but the Havoc always reminds me of a street shark without its dorsal fin having double guns. It's got 2 guns and it's a street shark. It's got that weird wedge-shaped front. I think that's great. So I'm excited to have one of these in plastic. And then, of course, we get a plastic J27.
Yay!
The only question is, are there rules for that as a BSP? Can I hook my mech up?
So. I hope that they include a BSP card in there. I really, really do.
That'd be pretty cool.
I'll just take the coolant keyword, please, now. But I like this. I've ran the Lament. I love the Lament. It's always great. And the Kintaro, I know I talked a couple episodes ago that it looked like iffy, maybe. I saw the high-res version of it at Southern Assault from Randall. It looks real good. We're all going to be real happy about that.
Like, I'm happy all these come in the same box, so I don't have to get a different box to get them all. So,
I mean, I'm still waiting on the Excalibur, which is in the next box. So, like, they tease with the Star League. They're teasing me just a little bit every time.
We'll get there eventually.
Yeah. All right.
What else we got coming up?
Next, we have it's the one that doesn't go with the others, but it's probably the most exciting if you're playing the new mercenary stuff, or you run campaigns, or you just like terrain. This is the Battlefield Support Emplacements box set. So we have plastic, light, medium, and heavy turrets on their pillars and machine gun nest.
Which is weird because there are no turrets in the BSPs, emplacements don't spin like turrets do. They're just
they're not technically turrets. They're
not. They're emplacements.
They're emplacements. You're right.
I'm all over this. I use medium emplacements all the time when I'm on defense, and it's funny because I use them so frequently that I actually went to. If you've seen some of the Cross-Electric Designs, turrets, I went and bought a bunch of those, and I started printing them on my 3D printer because I use them so often. I want something physical to put on the map as opposed to just the little cardboard, punch out. So having these in plastic is great. I'm excited. If you haven't used emplacements, you probably should because they're really good.
I've used them a lot in my campaign games. I will need at least 3, probably 4 boxes of these. For sure.
That's no joke.
They're look handy. Fun. I use them all the time.
Yeah, they definitely, just because there were so many turrets out on a random turret on Hex is probably the most 3D printed thing out there.
Yeah.
It's like, how can you make this better? And they really did. Like they did make, you're going to want these turrets in plastic because they look good.
They do. They really, really do.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all for the box sets, right? Right? At least the force packs. Then we've got a big old box set. Apparently, the folks at CGL and Lynn Vander Studios have been cooking. We know they've been in the kitchen for a while. Well, it's finally time to unveil BattleTech Aces.
It's been a long time coming. If people don't know what BattleTech Aces is it's like a single player or co-op version of BattleTech. I believe it's specifically for Alpha Strike. This box set is
correct. They specifically call out you can run this, but you will need some sort of Alpha Strike rule set to play it. So
yes,
either the Commander's edition of rulebook or the other Alpha Strike box set.
Right. So if you really want to get a feel for how Alpha Strike is played and not play against anything dumb, like the AI in here, it's card-based AI, but it's pretty cool the way they do it. I believe it came about because Randall and his son during COVID were sitting around very bored because they couldn't go out anywhere. And they started playing like a lot of board games. And one of them had this card-based AI. And Randall's like, you know what? This would actually work really well with Alpha Strike. So they contacted them, they talked, and eventually, years later, they came up with this box set. So, you could play it solo, but you could also play it co-op. So if you and your brother who doesn't want to play against you because he always loses, but still wants to play some BattleTech, you can set that out so you're both on one team and the AI is the enemy. And it works.
I forget where I heard it, but I heard an interview with someone from Lynn Vander, and they talked about the process of how they developed the cards to operate the way they wanted them to. And it was a super fascinating interview. And I forget where I heard it because otherwise I'd tell you to go seek it out because it was really interesting to listen to. But I'm very excited for the Aces box set.
Yeah. And it's not just that one. I mean, they're going to do at least 4, right?
They say they are committed to 4 box sets, each one being linked to a Ilclan era source book.
Yeah.
Right. They've got Scouring Sands, which is in the Tamar pack, the Tamar Rising book. We're supposed to get one for Empire Alone, Dominion Divided, and then, of course, Ilkhan Eyes Only. And I think we know it's in that Scouring Sands box, which is pretty exciting stuff. Excuse me. We've got the Thunderbolt 2C, which is coming.
Yep,
which is kind of cool. We've got 2 Fulcrum hover tanks. The Locust 2C4, which I'm very excited about because I don't know, I like Locusts. They're fun. We have a Baboon 6.
Yay.
That's a lot of SRMs.
We have the Thor H. I could always use another Thor. We have a Marauder 2C6. And the Rifleman C2. And it looks like there are optional pieces to give you that Project Phoenix style look.
That's cool.
Like the whole Rifleman was like, I looked at it and I was like, this isn't a Rifleman 2C. I have one right on my desk. I know what this looks like. And I was like, no, this is a redone Rifleman, like in clan aesthetic.
Because a Rifleman 2C and a Rifleman C are two different things.
They are.
And a Rifleman C2 is a third different thing?
Is a third different thing, but it's more like the Rifleman C than it is like the Rifleman 2C, which is very anime.
It's locally produced. This is Farmer's Market Clan Rifleman.
And then finally we have the Kraken 3 is supposed to be in that box set as well. And I'm just jazzed because a lot of these are Jade Falcon mechs, which is pretty exciting.
I mean, I would hope so. It's a Jade Falcon box.
Yeah, I know. We need more of those. More Jade Falcon stuff.
Look, there's probably more Jade Falcon stuff in here than there are actual Jade Falcons left.
Okay, also true and uncalled for. Thank you, Denim.
It's why he's abandoning them and going to Merrick. But
that's not true.
He was like, Greenbird died, dead, extinct.
Nothing will ever happen to Purple Bird. Not ever.
Look, I just got tired of painting green. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
But I need to ask because, well, it's gonna be talked about. How much are we going to allow people that take the Bane / Kraken 3 to have their kneecaps? Because that model is anatomically correct and aesthetically correct with 8 LRM-15s. We talked about the Nova Cat with 6 of them last numbers. Episode. Yeah. We took that. We added 2 more LRM-15s. We just got a regular Kraken with 10 autocannons, technically ultra autocannons, so 20 autocannon 2 shots, possibly.
The Kraken 3 reminds me of the exhibit of LRMs. Like, yo, dog, I heard you like LRMs, so I put some LRMs on your LRMs so you could launch LRMs. Well, you launch LRMs.
Yeah, nope. I love it, but everyone gets one time that they can use this before it goes and is put on the naughty shelf.
Like, you can paint it. You can first of all, you have to paint it to use it, and then when you use it, it is immediately destroyed in front of you after you use it. So you get to use it once, and then it is destroyed.
If you value your person's friendship,
you can buy another one and you can paint it and use it again, but it has to be a different one every time.
And choose carefully when you run this thing, otherwise Josh is coming for your kneecaps.
I did not fight any at Southern Assault, but I saw a lot of them at Southern Assault.
They're pretty good.
Speaking of, if you want to buy one of these, the MSRP is only $80.
It's equivalent to the Alpha Strike box set, right?
It is.
I mean, you're getting 8 mechs and 2 tanks
and co-op rules, like AI. You're getting an entire AI in there.
You get the AI rulebook, and you also get the campaign because it is meant to be a campaign.
Yes,
so you get that plus pop-up cardboard terrain.
Yep. Yeah.
So
I saw these. Some of the terrain was like rivers that like snapped together with puzzle pieces. This looks awesome. I forgot about that. They got like a bridge and also. Well, no, I mean, you see so much stuff, but I'd forgotten about the rivers. It was like that. That was neat. I think they've got bluffs that you can put together too. That's
portable terrain that you could just bring anywhere it's always a plus.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, it doesn't look as nice as some of the FDM printed stuff, but
that's less portable.
Well, no, I was just about to say having something you can flat pack and throw in your bag and walk out the door there's value there.
Alrighty. So that's all of the tangible stuff, I think.
I think that's all the plastic we have, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you put it on there, Steve. You got to talk about it.
Okay. We've got Voidbreaker, another book by Brian Young, coming out in January. And if I'm correct, Brian may be joining us on the podcast to talk about this.
I think that's awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah. I believe it follows Clan Seafox and their attempts to turn back on the HPGs. We'll have to see when it comes out. Very excited stuff. In other news, unrelated to BattleTech, but if you are following CGL, they do have on Backrat right now the Voltron RPG. So it is mech adjacent. So if you want to check out that RPG game, if you really love Voltron, you can check it out on Backrat.
It's not even mech adjacent. It's totally mecha.
I was about to say,
they probably wouldn't be into BattleTech as much without Voltron. I did check out this backer kit, and what I like is that there's 2 different box sets. One is for the classic Voltron that I grew up with, and one is for the new Voltron that my kids all watch and love. So you can get it in either flavor, and it has different campaigns. But yeah, it's all transformable. It's just the Lion Voltron. It is not the vehicle Voltrons.
Today I learned there was a vehicle Voltron as well.
Oh my goodness, it is like 15 vehicles, all form Voltron. It's crazy. It takes forever.
Pretty sure
in the wrong place.
Power Rangers Turbo, sir.
Right. It's like 3 Power Ranger Turbos all splitting apart and trying to combine into one Voltron.
You know the bad guy's going to be gone by all the time.
Oh yeah, he just left a while ago. You see him sneaking off in the background, stopping on a few buildings north of just on the way out.
I'm out of here.
That's actually 32 Gaslands vehicles put together.
Man. Gaslands, we get to fight Voltron. I'm down.
And lastly, Shrapnel 19 dropping this week.
Always down for more shrapnel.
Hey, I am so happy that this is doing so well.
Let's open it up with some hobby progress. Who here has done the most hobby progress?
Oh, man.
Since Thanksgiving?
Ooh, I've done quite a bit, actually. At Southern Assault, I acquired multiple boxes of vehicles with the intention of... So I had this brilliant idea, and the idea is if I buy all the tanks that could be BSPs or assets for the Mercenaries box set, and I paint them all in the same color scheme, no matter what mercenary company I play, I can have BSPs that look the part, right? And maybe it's just me. I'm just particular. I want my tank vehicles to match my mechs that are on the field to have a cohesive unit that is fighting for whatever objective we're working on. So I have probably right now, I'm about halfway through batch painting 30 vehicles, going with a nice rich forest green with some brown paneling. Painting amber is incredibly hard. I'm trying to do amber cockpits.
What are you talking about? It's literally the easiest color. All of my Comstars amber colored, Master Chief cockpit. That's what you're talking about, right? Yeah.
I don't want gold though. I don't want the metallic gold. I'm trying to paint that using a combination of yellows and browns. And I'm on those tank cockpits. Those are real small. You don't have a lot of space to blend.
Tiny.
So it's it's kind of coming out a little orange, a little bit too yellow. But we're working on it. I'm practicing.
Sounds like a personal problem. I mean, Balthazar gold, whatever your favorite gold.
But I don't want gold. I don't want gold. That's the problem.
That's your base coat. Then you go from gold to yellow or brown. But you said you want amber. That's pretty close to gold to me.
Yeah, no, gotta do it the other way. Gotta do it with all acrylics, no metallics, no cheating. So I don't know. It's going. I'm excited. I do have 2 crabs that I will talk about in the mercenary section. I've got
breaking news: Steve has crabs.
But I've got 2 of those completed in the new paint scheme. Those were test pieces to see how they worked out. So now I'm moving those over to the vehicles, and that's taken a little bit of time.
I got one of those the camo cases for your books and mechs and stuff, and I am using it as my travel BSP case. So I put all my vehicles in there. I put all the mercenary rule books and contracts and stuff in there, all the little tokens, so that if I need a vehicle, I just go in there. And very much like you, Steve, I am painting. My first batch of vehicles is all in neutral colors. They're all olive drab or desert tan or some combination there between there, so I can use them with any force. At some point, I will be getting some more vehicles, and I will be painting them up to go with my Grey Death Legion, because A, I really like that color scheme, and B, Grey Death has always been a mixed company, and it would be nice to have some vehicles to go with that. But that's a down the road thing. So first batch, all the ones I got in the Kickstarter, they're all going to be neutral greens and browns, so I can use them with everything.
Yep. Yep. And
I think
honestly,
that's a great idea.
Doing the exact same thing with the camo box. It's on my holiday wish list. I want it to be my mercenary box. So if I'm going to the game shop and I'm going to play a mercenaries game, I grab it. All my paperwork's in there. All of it. I just want one box because right now I've got my model bag that I take to the shop, and then I have my tote that I bring with all my papers and maps and all sorts of stuff. I just want it in one box that I don't have to fuss with. So
the maps fit in that box.
I know that's really why I want one. That's why I want one.
Yeah, I like it a whole lot.
Josh, what about you?
Well, I did some purchasing. I did purchase also some plastic tanks at Fortress Miniatures and Games while I was at Southern Assault. I also, because my favorite is the used bin, the bargain bin of unloved and Island for Misfit things.
Laments.
Lament is good. Lament is good. But I got 4 metal vehicles. I got a Brutus, a Zukov, a Rhino, and a Puma.
A Puma's a mech. It's also known as...
Puma is also an assault tank.
But why have an assault tank when you could have a mech?
Because one of them predates the other one by a lot. I'm pretty sure. Who's fact checker this one?
You're right. Nope, not it.
Oh, yep. Oh, man, it's second. 2681. That's copyright infringement on the clans.
I think Timberwolf came out in 27 something. So,
oh yeah, 3010 for the regular Puma. We've got a good case, boys. But yeah, these I had intended for like seeing where they could fit into my Ill Clan era, but really these are some like hardcore Word of Blake vehicles, and I did not realize that all 4 that I grabbed were like hardcore WOB variant, and I was like, I'm not angry. Like, it works out. It's just
I want to see a Comstar Word of Blake BSP pack. That's what
That'd
I
be fun.
see.
Yeah. No, Josh,
Word of Blake came out with some crazy vehicles in that Jihad area.
I was going to say, Josh, the reason that you picked those up subconsciously is because the microchip that the Wobbies planted in your brain told you to pick them up. Probably subliminal.
To be fair, I did think the Puma was a Fury first for my Comstar, and I was like, oh no, it's not that other assault Gauss rifle tank. It's the other assault rifle, or assault tonnage Gauss rifle tank. Oh no. So terrible. But yeah, so those, I'm debating on whether to strip them formally with, green world stuff. No. Some industrial cleaner or paint thinner. Because they are metal. That is the best part. Or just paint over them and just be done with it. I think we're going to go with that last one. I think that'll be December/January progress. The other thing I did was I did break out my big prize from Southern Assault 4, which was the House Davian Heavy Battle Lance box set, and took some high-res pictures for the BattleTech Reddit. Because, well, we've seen a bunch of painted ones, but I don't think we had seen the unpainted ones. So these are production proofs. So, yeah.
Did you also put those pictures on our Instagram?
I did not, because I'm terrible.
Probably should.
Probably should. But yeah, so we've got the Templar, Falconer, Thanatos, and the Thunderbolt NAIS.
I do like how that NAIS Thunderbolt looks.
Oh, yeah. It's just like experimental enough.
I'm still upset Thanatos never ended up being an Omni.
Same.
I love the Thanatos. It's such a good mech.
I mean, it's got MRMs. I'm going to have to learn to love that.
I don't like the Apollo fire control system for MRMs. I would rather have the +1 to hit than hit with fewer missiles. I'm bringing MRMs because I want to hit with a lot of missiles. I don't want to hit with less missiles.
Less
I'd rather have
bad.
a harder shot.
More is good.
Yeah.
Is that what the M stands for? More missiles?
More
range missiles.
Really missiles.
Range missiles. Yeah. And the only thing I did that involved a painted model, I should say, was I did correct my Centurion that I converted for my Mercenaries campaign games, because the rack gun barrel that I had modified for it was crooked and it was driving me insane.
So what happens when you fire 6 rounds all the time? That's like, or overheats. It kind of twists a bit.
Barrel? Yeah. I was like, oh. So I had to, technically it was destroyed at the end of my last game. So I had to cut it off and put on a new one. So it's all fixed now, but I was like, I'm hating this. I'm hating having to cut off painted model stuff and then re-glue it. So, but it's done. So who knows when I'll have to redo that. But that's it for my hobby progress. I want to take a quick break before we get into games played, because there's a lot of games played tonight.
Wait. Yes, I do have my hobby progress. I forgot some things.
Really? No, we've moved on.
No, I'm doing it. So last Friday I went to the game shop and met up with Matt Cross from Cross Electric Designs, and he brought me garbage, which is great. He has a bunch of failed prints that he can't use anything with, right? Because he can't sell stuff that's not properly printed.
Makes sense.
So I got 3 half messed up resin drop ships that I'm going to turn into terrain. So I've got one where the top's cut off. So that's going to be like a crash dropship. It's going to look awesome. So very excited about that. And I've decided that I'm starting to 3D print again. And I ended up printing a whole bunch of aliens from Alien, because it's just doing some fun stuff. And it just so happens that the day that those aliens came off the printer, Denim, you had picked up Alien Fire Team. And that was pretty serendipitous, so getting to check that out too. So exciting printing progress and terrain progress as well. So, all right, I forgot about that. Want to make sure that I got in.
Well, now we're going to hold you to that for next time.
I'll try. I got a lot of things to paint, but I will get to that terrain.
All right. Well, we've got a lot of games played, so that will really be the rest of the episode, talking about games. Now, I'd say the majority, if not all of them, are some sort of mercenary campaign.
Yep, I think all but one of them was. Yeah,
all of my stuff was.
Yeah, I got one virtual game that was not, but we can just get that out of the way first. But what I wanted to say was, so campaign corner, right?
Whatever we're calling it.
Denim's like, no, I'm giving you nothing.
That's what we're calling it.
There was like even a poll on the Discord.
Oh, I did not know how that poll turned out. Was it campaign corner by a vast majority?
It was not.
No.
Okay.
I think they were like, it's fine if it stays that way, but there are better things out there. Insert name of segment here. So
there were some good ones on that list.
There were. I just need to find them. Oh no, we have to start with the only not mercenaries campaign game here, which I did a Mega Mech game against Princess, and that technically does count because it is BattleTech, and we were going through some family emergency stuff, and I couldn't get out to the game store, and I was like, what do I do? And I was like, oh no, Megamech's here, and Megamech will do all the math and hard mental lifting for me. So I whipped that out, and I actually just took the House Davian Heavy Battle Lance box set for a spin to because I have a Metal Templar. I've never ran a Templar. I've never ran a Falconer, the Thunderbolt, or the Thanatos. So I was like, let's take this out, and it's fun. It's Princess. We doing things. I pulled up a standard Grasslands map. But what was really fun was not hitting with anything with your Falconer and Thanatos, but getting a solid pushing I want to say a summoner off the map with the Falconer by jumping. And it's even Princess falls into the classic Mechwarrior dilemma of put back against map edge.
Yeah, you got to keep them away from your back, and in doing so, you doom yourself. Because that mech just has to survive long enough to get to the melee phase, and you're off the map.
I know.
You can't stop it.
Yeah, it got a little squirrely. I definitely was like, please don't fall down, Falconer, please. It's your
first PSR. That's all we need.
First simulator.
Well,
run.
even if it fails the PSR, it just can't get destroyed while it's doing the DFA.
Oh, not DFA, push.
Oh, you did a push. Okay, that's entirely different.
Yeah, I was like, we're doing the risky one. Yeah, but that was fun. Like I said, it was fun to try out things. Like I said, I don't run Thanatos MRMs enough. Templars, Gauss rifles, and pulse lasers. You know what you're getting with those, but there's some new stuff.
It also carries battle armor.
It does. I can't remember if I did because I wanted to use the torso weapons.
Yeah.
That's the problem with battle armor. The clanners forget that.
Say the Megamech does not forget that you cannot fire torso-mounted weapons when you're carrying those.
It's but I meant to drop them off. Did you click the button? No. Then they're still there. But yeah, that was my first game. Like I said, simulators technically count while we get those infrequently. So, all right. Who wants to go next? Denim?
Oh yeah, mine's quick and easy.
Okay.
I played a lot of games recently, but they were pretty much all just playtesting various mercenary campaign system stuff. So played a lot of the tracks, played a lot of the things that you'll see in Hinterlands, like any errata for the box set might have something to do with that. I did a lot of playtest for that stuff, and I can tell you that Hinterlands is an amazing system. It's going to be super cool. So I think I'm about to start doing normal ones though, just against people with actual play things, because I do miss that. I like keeping track of it. So I did miss that a lot when it didn't matter, but I had to play like it mattered.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different feeling. But when you're playtesting it, you definitely have to pretend that it matters, but then ultimately it does not. So it is a sad feeling. But I'm excited about getting into the ones that do matter. And so next time we'll probably have some of those.
Nice. Very nice. Steve, what have you named your mercenary company yet?
Oh, I have. And it was kind of an accident. So, all right, let me start from the beginning here. 2 episodes ago, Josh made fun of me because I didn't have any Merc games played, and I was prepping for Southern Assault and painting like crazy, so I didn't have time. So now I have like 6 Merc games to talk about because...
Why you would let Josh control you like that?
I don't know. Honestly, they were a ton of fun. And the fact that you can play these mercenary games in the span of about an hour and a half, 2 hours, because they're the right scale. I got 2 or 3 of these done in one night at the game shop. Right?
Yes.
I just sat down and just kept cranking them out.
You can have a mixed lance. You can have some mechs and vehicles and emplacements and still be done in under 2 hours. It is amazing.
It's fun. I mean, this is the most fun I've had playing Classic in a very, very long time. So I just wanted to make a mercenary unit to test it out, see how it was. Wasn't going to take it too seriously. So I took 2 crabs and named them the Krusty Krabs, with Eugene Krabs as the CO. We've all done it. We've all named mercenary units or pilots after cartoon characters, right? And it seemed fitting.
We have not. We have not done that.
That's not true. In one of the Mega Mech tournaments, Dustin named all of his pilots after Bluey characters. It was fine, right? It was fine then. It's fine now. I'm not agreeing to the double standard.
Yes, Steve, there is a double standard, but I'm going to have to cut you off because we do have a breaking news segment that I think the audience needs to listen to first.
Good evening. I'm Chip Darrington. Today in the hills of Denova, the mercenary group known as the Krusty Krabs raided and razed several field hospitals to the ground. The buildings were under the protection of the Pearl Dragon Company, who had the mercenary group, the Chum Bucketeers, on retainer. Seen below are a series of several aerial photographs from before and after the attack. We now go live to our correspondent on the ground, Kate Bennett. Kate?
Thanks, Chip. What surrounds me here is nothing short of what many are calling a war crime. Multiple buildings have been brought to the ground, with bodies still being pulled from the rubble. Surveillance indicates that the Krusty Krabs came from 2 directions: south through the tree line here, and east over that hill, effectively pincering the Chum Bucketeers. One eyewitness says that Crab SRM carrier obliterated the Children's Hospital in a single volley. We're receiving reports that multiple fighting vehicles were involved on both sides, and that the defending Chum Bucketeers destroyed many of the Crab vehicles, but were unable to bring down any of their battle mechs. Damage report from the Bucketeers shows that the Crabs came in on a mission. They virtually ignored the defenders' assets and attacked with a single-minded purpose before retreating from the field. Some theorists suspect that the Crabs were hired by the planetary government to root out extremist elements hostile to the sitting governor. No official word from the government has been released at this time. But as you can see, Chip, it's nothing short of total devastation down here. Back to you.
Thank you, Kate. I'm getting word that this was not the first time the Crabs and Bucketeers clashed. Sources say that in the last meeting engagement, the Bucketeers managed to kill one of the Crab pilots with several blows to the cockpit. This forced an ejection, leaving the pilot in several trees. It might be that the Crabs were out for payback. While the death toll is still being tallied, the Bucketeers' public relations liaison stated publicly that, quote, they will not rest until the terrorist and war criminal Eugene Krabs is brought to justice. Strong words from the Chum Bucketeers, despite being unable to bring down the rival mercenary leader. With several dropships departing the planet, we can only hope that whatever business the crabs were conducting has been brought to its bloody end. This is Chip Darrington, signing off. So I ended up taking my Krusty Krabs against Jesse. Jesse ended up bringing a Star Slayer, a Chameleon, Maxim, Hover Tank, and Battle Armor. And I brought my 2 Crabs, a Shrek PPC carrier, and a Condor Heavy Hover. What's nice about 2 Crabs is that they come in pretty significantly under the 3,000 BV cap. So I get a lot of BSPs to play with, and the BSPs are fun. I love this. We played that, I think it was a strike mission where you have to locate one of the 4 buildings and destroy it. I was the attacker, so I had to destroy the vehicle. Destroy the building. So at the beginning of turn 2, Jesse made a tactical error and accidentally revealed which building was his headquarter building that I needed to destroy. So I destroyed it and ended up leaving the field. The Shrek PPC carrier came through for me and blew it up. Won the mission, even though it didn't feel great. But I mean, once I know what building it is, it's hard to justify getting your mercenary unit shot to pieces because you need to go scan something. So with that being the case, the mission was over. Big highlights there. I got a huge lucky break on turn 1. I took a random pot shot at his Maxim carrying his battle armor, and he forgot to disembark the battle armor. And when I blew it up, they all went with it. So that was a huge win for that turn. And thankfully, because it only took like an hour, we did a second game and we played a meeting. Yeah, it was, why not? So we took a meeting engagement. I again took my 2 Crabs after repairs. I took a Patton and a Galleon heavy. I took a Patton, a Galleon tank, and a heavy strike. Jesse took a Star Slayer, Chameleon, and a Shrek PPC because my Shrek PPC terrified him from the previous game. So turn 1, I got real lucky and I used my my heavy strike to kill his Shrek because it was on the map. So that felt great. And then it turned into a giant jump pulse fight because his mechs just jumped in, shot me, jumped out, jumped in, jumped out, yada yada. And after a while,
how's it feel, Jay Falcon player? How's it feel?
It doesn't feel great. I'll tell you what. It got real frustrating real fast. But you know what I did do? I definitely hung my crab out to dry. I put it in a real bad spot and just let it sit there. So he jumped his Star Slayer in and then stood still for a turn because he wanted to blow it up. And that's when I turned around and absolutely just blew it away. So I crippled it. He fled, and winning 2 tracks out of 3 automatically ends the contract. Right. So that was the first night with 2 of those games under our belt. And like I mentioned before, I picked the Krusty Krabs as a joke. It was just supposed to be a joke mercenary unit that I was going to test out and see how it went. And I just kept winning. So I just kept playing them. I don't know, probably a week later, went back to the shop and got to play my buddy Kevin. So after the first set of missions, I ended up buying an Ostol because it came up on the random assignment table for me to purchase. So I took a Crab and an Ostol, 3 medium emplacements, and a light strike up against Kevin's Blackhawk KU and a Night Sky. He took a Patton and a Drillson Heavy Hover for his BSPs. We did a meeting engagement. Again, this is just, cripple some of the enemy and take off. Yep. This was a weird mission because neither of us wanted to lose anything, but we were both in super bad shape. My Crab had lost a leg and fallen behind a low cliff, so he couldn't see it. But, he had to come around the corner to come get me. And in doing so, he put himself in, pretty heavy fire from some of my stuff. So we ended up getting to the point where both of us were effectively crippled, but not technically crippled. So we both withdrew from the battlefield and called it a wash. So those were the first 3 games that I played with the Krusty Krabs. Nail biters, all of them, actually. It's exciting how there's something of value, right? There's something to lose. There's real stakes when you play with persistent damage in these mercenary groups. So I've got a couple more, but I don't want to hog the air. So Josh, you got one you want to share with us?
I do. But first, so you did 3. Does that ends your mercenary box set contract, right?
No, because the first 2 against Jesse that I played, I won both of those. That automatically ended that contract, and you get the 3rd month for free in the mercenary packet. So I started a new contract with the new reputation, and that's when I played the first game against Kevin.
Okay. So the Krusty Krabs, paused, and the other nondescript or legally distinct Krusty Krabs went on for the second one?
No, they're still Krusty Krabs. No one died. Everything was good.
You're just re-racking fully.
Yeah, that was it. We just kept going, kept trucking along.
All right. Nope.
Well, he lost a crab, right? And then he bought an Ostol.
Nope, so I didn't lose a crab. I lost a leg on a crab.
Okay.
And I repaired it.
They grow those back, though, I hear.
They do. They just got to molt a few times.
They grow back.
Unless they get shell rot. Apparently my social media is only giving me crab and crab crustacean related, things now.
Oh yeah, my iPhone has heard us talk about crabback and crabs, and I am now getting a weird number of crab related random posts.
It's weird.
For sure.
It's actually
happening. So good. That's so good. That's so good. It's great. Crabs are on the mind, and it's definitely your Wabi brain chip.
Hey, Wiretap, can you get me recipes for CRB-27s? But yeah, so I got 3 mercenary games in. The first one, though, was a demo game for someone that was like, I don't know if I want to do this, but I will try. And they whipped out a Cephalus and a Mistlynx. And I was like, oh, okay.
You don't see a Cephalus
You do not
often.
see a Cephalus very much. For those that don't know, that's a society mech. So yeah, this was definitely one of those weirder games where I was like, I'm not ready for this. Start off fine. I just took what I was going to take to a mercenary game anyway, so I got my Battle Axe and Centurion again. We both decided to take Pegasus hovercraft just to make it easy, just so I could show how the battlefield support assets work. Because it is, if you have not played Alpha Strike or you have not looked at them, they're very different to a classic player. So I was like, we can do the same thing, and any questions we can both answer. This was a rough game because we rolled up and it was just kill. And I was like, no, I don't want to just kill against the clan society mechs. This is bad. The map we rolled, it put me on a hill with way too much line of sight to his Cephalus. And Cephalus is nasty. It's got a lot of plasma cannons and a lot of clan lasers. And I think this was the first time that I had ever taken that much damage turn 1, just moving onto the field. It's like, hey, Cephalus walks, skill 3, pulse lasers. I was like, oh no, I'm already in medium clan pulse range. Yeah. Yeah, so my Battle Axe took a lot of hits. He also took a lot of plasma, which was not fun right out the gate also. I was like, oh, go LRM 7s. And it's like, yeah, they ain't doing that, Josh. I did get to rock the Centurion. It was like, oh boy, well, while Battle Axe is tanking, I can run up and get some rack shots. Nope, that thing just turned around, took a leg almost completely off, and I was like, why is it like this? No. So this is my first Merc game going against clan, and it wasn't really even a skew clan list. I know some people have been taking just one clan mech, but it definitely felt like that because the Mistlynx is real cheap compared to the Cephalus.
Oh, sure. The Cephalus is only 25 tons? It's not a big mech.
No, that's the other one. This is it's the Pariah Septicema C. Yeah. So I'll cut that in post. But yeah, so a Septicema C, 3 plasma cannons, 8 AP Gauss rifles, 2 machine gun arrays with 4 machine guns each, and 4 medium pulse lasers for a balmy 2200 BV. I was like, this outdoes everything that I have, plus any BS assets I have. And I was like, I can do this, but I really just needed the mission to not be just kill. Because, yeah, the first couple turns were him just sitting back and using clan pulse range and plasma range. And I was like, this isn't fun at all. As I do my jump 4 and walk 5-8, I was like, ooh. Yeah, so Battle Axe gets a lot of armor stripped. Centurion tries the flank, does not work out. Centurion pretty much takes a leg crit from the Pegasus, which I really liked how they gave those assets special rules to make them feel fun. It's not just hovercraft, it's crit seeker, which means hey, add some to that crit. And I was like, oh no. So yeah, hip, foot. I was like, oh, we going down. Centurion, we didn't up your piloting skill. Not that it would have mattered right now, but yeah. So we take the pilot hit. We go down. It's not looking good. I'm like, I can't even really stand at this. I do some nice prone firing, and the only thing I hit with was that rack, and it did nothing. Nothing. So, I think by the end of it, the battle axe was trying to cool off enough from the plasma to help the Centurion, and the Centurion was just about to get murdered. And I was like, oh, yeah, didn't like this one. So after it was the obvious end point of that match, we called it, and I helped them run through like, okay, well, here's how the salvage work from this mission. Here's how the repairs would work, and how like your costs and everything. So they seemed like they had a good time. My pilots, maybe not so much, but that's why we were like, this is a demo simulator game first. Totally didn't, retroactively like it does. This one doesn't count.
This one doesn't count.
Because when you're in that dropship doing that 3-month transport from one spot to another for your next contract, all these games, like all the games I did, they were all battle simulators, so they felt real until you stepped out and they're like, it was all a dream.
Yeah,
it was all a dream.
Yeah, but it was fun. I still had a good time. Steve, what was your next game?
Oh, this is a bad game.
This is a bad game? You seem to have a lot of those lately.
No, I won my first. I won the first two and then pushed on the third. So we're still winning. We got a winning record right now as the Crab. We still have a winning record with the Krusty Krab. So we're doing okay. This game, however, we play Martin. So this is the first contract where I change opponents in the middle, right? Rather than playing the same opponent throughout the contract. And it worked out just fine. I know we talked about that previously. We weren't sure how that would work out. Now that I've done it, it's no problem at all. He brought a Shadowhawk 2C, an Orion, and for his BSPs, he took a Manticore. I took 2 Crabs. I got a new pilot this time. So another, I think back to a 4-5, 3 emplacements and a Light Strike. Now, this was a meeting engagement, so again, just kill or be killed. And unfortunately, those turrets are not as resilient as I would like.
No, they're
the emplacements.
Yeah,
no, they are.
Well, not this game because I lost 2 in the first turn.
Yeah, I think you need like a 10 base to kill them.
But they're immobile, so like.
They get hit.
They're easy to hit.
They're easy to hit.
You have to do like more than the 5 points of damage, I think, to proc the thing.
Well, and when you have a Manticore that unloads
you can kill them pretty fast.
Yeah. Also, my dice luck this game was not great. General highlights here: I managed to blow off his Orion's arm, which put me off to a good start. He was missing by 1s every time he shot. I mean, he's shooting on 6s.
Welcome to BattleTech.
It felt bad to watch until turn 4. He puts, I think it was a large laser into the head of my crab. And I'm like, I still got a little bit of structure left. I'm okay. It's great.
You should still technically have armor left. Technically.
Well, then he hit me with something that went internal by 1 pip.
So something with 10.
Yeah, it could have been a PPC.
Yeah.
This was a couple weeks ago. I don't remember exactly what it was.
Okay.
The bad news is he followed up with a whole bunch of LRMs.
Oh, no.
And the first cluster of LRMs just bonked him right in the noggin. And I'm like, wait, there's an optional rule. We talked about it in the podcast. Skin of our teeth ejections. I can use this, right? And then I ejected right into trees behind me. And I splattered myself all over the canopy of trees. It didn't go well. So he actually killed a pilot. So I lost my first pilot in the mercenary company, which was
It took you 4 games to lose your first pilot?
Yeah.
You were doing okay.
Yeah. Like I said, I made the Krusty Krabs as a joke and I just kept winning. So we just kept rolling with it.
I just kept winning. So it was okay.
It was fine. I bought a couple extra mechs and things were going well. The bad news, so at this point, the Orion is basically dead. And I need to get damage into 2 torsos to cripple it, right? He's running it off the map. But because of its movement profile, he could get it over a hill, but not off the board. And my one remaining crab had enough movement to get up on the hill behind him. And you know what that means, Denim?
It's a kick to the head.
Kick on the punch table, baby. Kick on the punch table. So he gets up there, he unloads into his back. He puts 1 pip into the left torso from the rear because I punched through all that armor with those large lasers. Felt great. Get to do that kick. 50-50 chance. If I hit an arm, right? No dice. I don't cripple the mech. I have to hit either the center or the left torso.
Or the head.
Or the head. That would be fine too. And I managed to hit that left torso. We put damage into 2 torso pieces, which crippled the mech. We both withdrew at that point. We called it a day. And it's one of those things where he had technically crippled or destroyed 50% of my force first. So he got the win. But because I completed one of my objectives, I still got something. Right? So it's like, because
he doesn't, the important thing there is that since you achieved that objective, he does not get 150% of his wins. So you get 50 because you didn't win. Right. You get 50%, but he only gets 100% combat pay, not 150% combat pay.
And what Martin did is Martin named his mercenary unit.
Oh, no.
The Chum Bucketeers.
Oh, no.
So now the Krusty Krabs have a rival mercenary company, the Chum Bucketeers, and now I can't change the Krusty Krabs because there's an enemy out there.
There's a literal in-universe.
Because then you would be giving up, Steve.
I can't do it.
And you can't.
I'll be in the cold ground before I let those Chum Bucketeers get one over on Eugene Krabs. So that was a great. I mean, I was real mad, but then he told me the name of his mercenary company. He's like, no, we're out for blood. We're coming back, right?
See, it's the story. It's the stories that this stuff creates. I love it.
And if you recall from a couple episodes ago, this is the same Martin that I got like 5 headshots on his 4.
Yeah.
So he's like, vindication. It's my turn to get headshots on you. And I'm like, I'm gonna kill you, Martin. I'm coming for you.
Oh no!
You were texting me during one of your games, asking me rules questions. Which game was that?
That was the next one? But I know Josh has some other games to talk about.
all right.
Y'all had an active HPG connection going on during a game. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, because Denim knows all the rules, and I have a tendency to drink pretty heavily while I play. So looking rules up,
I could tell from your texts that that's exactly what was happening.
We have a good time. So, Josh, what about you?
Oh, man. My second mercenary game. Now, this would have been my third of the box set contract, because I was actually like, I want to do the 3 for the box set and then immediately just jump into Hinterlands. So that was how I was thinking about it. So this is my last, Golden Eagle. I can't remember the other one.
Pearl Dragon.
I think I was a Pearl Dragon. So, yeah. And this was Thiel's first Mercenaries box set game, but he was ready to rock. So Thiel took a Penetrator and I want to say Phoenix Hawk. As we all know, if it jumps more than like 6, my brain automatically assigns it a Spider or possibly Phoenix Hawk. Those are the only 2 things. So if I'm wrong, they'll let me know.
7, 8, 9 is the same modifier, so
exactly.
it's all the same until you get to 10, and then it's definitely a Spider.
But this was a fun one. This was the one where they deploy and then I come on after, essentially. The defend mission.
Yeah. There's a couple like that.
There are a couple. I will say the funny thing was I tried to pick out my battlefield support assets before we did the map, and I was like, oh boy. No. I'm going to do hovercraft. I had so much fun, and it was like, bro, you got the most wooded map this side of the Terran forest.
Is it that one
indoor.
with that half river in it?
Yeah, the little half river.
You don't take hovercrafts on that because you can't get them to the other side of the map. Like there is a wall.
I know. We
can't do it.
This. I was like, I was so mad. I was like, fine. Mana cores, go.
Mana cores are nice, though.
They're nice.
So good.
I think Thiel also took mana cores, so it was just good old tank on tank action. But what ended up happening was my Centurion ran up the one like openish field with the Mana Core behind him, taking some pot shots, shooting some racks. I know there was some good cluster hitting on the Phoenix Hawk, and I definitely like opened up its dead arm like early on. And I was like, oh, I'm internal. Guess what? It's weird to like play and do that, and like your brain is like cha-ching, cha-ching, money out of your bank. But
yeah, and then you're keeping track. You're like, just two more limbs, and you're crippled.
Yeah, it's like I'm not trying to beat you. I'm trying to make this economically unfeasible to fight me, which is a little too real worldy for my taste. But I do so enjoy it. So, my Mana Core is there tanking. It's like it's got just enough armor that I'm like, go ahead, shoot me. That's okay.
Your mech is not economically viable.
It's not. With an Intersphere XL engine, no. But it does have case too, so, it does help me on that. The Battle Axe, though, has been jumping right up till midfield. I did not walk through the water. I do not want to risk my pilots drowning. So, jumped over the river, set up for some sweet LRM and ER medium laser sniping at his penetrator, who's up on the hill. And I was like, all right, we're both pilot 3s, or both gunnery 3s. This is fun. I enjoy this. I'm shooting him. He's shooting me. We're rolling clusters. We're having a great time. What happens, though, is the penetrator, I want to say, gets a Gauss rifle explode. Yes, yeah. One of the Gauss rifle goes off in the penetrator. I was like, oh boy, time to exploit some 2 pilot hits. They stay conscious. I move everyone up. The Centurion, literally on the top of the hill. There's a level difference. I try the kick. The kick does not go off. I fall. I was like, oh no.
Oh no. That's right. There's 5 pilots.
Yeah. These pilots are not great, but what are you going to do? They're free. I do get up. I do unload. I go the max rack. At this point, I have 5 shots of rack ammo left in all of the thing. Like, I have not rearmed the Centurion since game 1, which is great. I love keeping track of my record sheets through that. He gets the critical. He gets internal. He hits that ammo. I have the case too. It does not double, but it does put 2 more pilot hits onto my already hurt Centurion, which then falls. Uh-oh. It does take out the Intersphere XL just from the rest of the damage. So it's like, great, I've had the ammo explosion and the side torso, and I've fallen. I was like, 4 pilot hits on the Centurion. Oh, buddy, this hurts. But Battle Axe does, kill the penetrator. So it was a good trade where I technically win the game, but we take some pain. So
I'm still sad the Battle Axe does not have a hatchet of any sort. It just seems wrong.
It does. I'm very happy with my Battle Axe, though. I think.
Well, I think you would be less happy if it had a hatchet. I just think that they're missing out.
What I do think is funny is the Battle Axe is probably the most, the mech I've played the most consecutive games with, because I took it a Southern Assault, but I did not take the Centurion. So I've had all of my Merc games, Southern Assault, and the next Merc games. And it's like, that's like 10 consecutive games with 1 mech. And that's something I've never done, which is fun and wild. I don't know how that feels. I'm learning. But yeah, so I do end.
Someone just put a bounty on your Battle Axe, by the way.
It's starting to be that way. Don't worry. The next game will do that. But I did. That was my wrap up for the mercenary contract. I did. So I've got 1 pilot with 4 pilot hits. So essentially, they're probably going to have to sit out the next contract. And I was like, ugh.
Couple months.
Yeah. So I do. This is what I did. I was like, if once I do a contract, I can roll on the not box buy. I was like, oh, we've completed a contract. We can put a call in to our supplier and maybe get a good mech from like a field manual, force manual, random table. And I was like, okay, we do that. And of course we roll and I get a hammer hands. And I was like, this was meant to happen. 2 racks. Another one.
So many racks.
But for my pilots, I did give my Centurion a piloting skill upgrade because,
no more falling down.
He's fallen in each game, and I'm real tired, Grandpa. The Battle Axe, I did give an SPA. I really debated on whether I trust SPAs, but if my pilots die, I don't hate it as much. And it's not like a hate thing. It's just I know there are some bad combinations that could be unfun for people that are playing Merc games. And I'm like, fine.
For sure. For real.
I'm just like, I'm not going to take those. So I took Sandblaster on my BattleX pilot. So
for that,
for the MML's, cluster bonus. And I was like, maybe I'll throw them into the...
I mean, to be honest, if you've got an Ultra AC-20, like if you're piloting a Hunchback 2C, Sandblaster is the way to go.
If you don't trust cluster rolls, you take Sandblaster. This is how it is. So, and I did give my mercenary company a name. They are the Natural Disasters. And I'm like, this is fitting. This is very fitting.
It's fair.
And
fair.
So to recap, I finished the mercenary box set campaign. My pilots are not dead, even if they have brain damage. And I did buy me upgrades and gave them names. And I was like, woo, we're doing it.
Awesome.
I know. Steve,
awesome.
What about you?
So this next game was not with the Krusty Krabs. This was a Saturday night game that I played with my buddy Kevin. And we looked at each other and we said, we should just play a game. We just wanted like a fun, low-stress game of Classic. And we used the mercenary box set to set up our forces, and we used BSPs because we liked them. So we did that whole thing, and I'm like, look, if this goes well, this will become a secondary mercenary company that we can kind of play with later, right? In case the crabs get absolutely destroyed, I'll have another one kind of in the pipe ready to go.
This kills the crab.
Look, I play with a lot of crabs, and I was like, all right, let's just change it up. I want to use some other mechs rather than my crabs. So I took a Marauder 7R.
Holy crap, a heavy crab.
And a Locust 5M3. For my BSPs, I ended up taking 2 Manticores.
They're good BSPs.
They're good. The Manticores are great. Kevin took a Guillotine 5M and a Chameleon 8V. And for his BSPs, he took a Pegasus and a light turret.
A light emplacement.
I'm sorry. Yes, a light emplacement. You're right. They look like turrets. They sound like turrets. They're not turrets. So, long story short, my Manticores end up getting summarily dismantled. That's not a word. Dismantled. The first 2 turns. So just absolutely murdered. I do trade my second Manticore for his emplacement, which was a better trade for him than me, but it got that overwatching eye in the sky out of there. So that worked out. His Chameleon ended up being really aggressive. He had the defend objective. So he was trying to defend the midline, right? So after the game, he goes, man, I really shouldn't have done that. But his Chameleon got super aggressive and jumped into the woods just past the halfway point. He missed that my Locust went like 1 billion hexes, and it just got right up behind him. And he just let him have it. So we ended up punching internal on 2 torsos, crippling the mech from the rear shots. And that was pretty nice, right? That felt good. So then it became, I'm trying to knock the Chameleon out or somehow cripple it. It's already crippled, but I'm trying to take it down so I can climb the salvage. But of course, that Guillotine is hanging out in the back. He's relatively fresh. So he was really putting the hurt on my Marauder. What really helped me out this game is that Kevin could not roll the same hit location twice. My Marauder was everywhere. I had armor missing from just about every limb, every torso. And my Locust miraculously survived. It lost both of its arms, and it only had 2 internal pips of center torso structure remaining at the end of the game.
So was it even crippled then?
No, it was, because it had lost 2 arms awesome. And only had 1 point of damage, only 1 torso was damaged. So it didn't end up, it wasn't crippled. It was just missing most of its body.
That's fantastic.
I don't hear no bell.
Right? So we ended up winning because we crippled more than half of his force and got off the map without too much trouble. But the reason that this is an important game for us is we are both relatively new to Classic. And yes, we were a little drunk. And yes, we texted Denim all night trying to figure out what these rules are, because rules of adjacency still don't make sense to me. But what was important about this game is that this
makes
was
sense after drink number 5.
Well, next time we'll pregame a little bit and then get there.
That's right.
But no, what was important about this game is that normally Kevin and I are very objective oriented, and occasionally we have a little bit of friction, right? So this game, we had a blast. We had so much fun. There were no issues. If there was a rule that came up that we didn't know, we texted Denim, found out about it, and then just kept going, right? There were no stakes. So we had a really enjoyable pickup game of nothing. And it was holy smokes. We didn't actually jump at each other's throats at all during this game. And I thought that was a lot of fun, and he had a good time and I had a good time. And we found out that it is having stuff on the line matters. When you play the mercenary games, you're invested. There's holdover, there's permanency. You need to make good moves. You can't just throw things away because it'll cost you SPs to repair, or it's gone forever. You lose pilots, they're dead. This was just I don't care if my Marauder dies, let's go, right? He's throwing his chameleon up the field. Just see what happens. And I finally understood what you mean, Denim. It's just fun to watch robots explode.
Yes.
And it was like, this was a huge shift in character for me. I'm like, my God, this is a riot. I get it now. It's beautiful. So that's going to make all the other games of BattleTech that much more enjoyable.
If you play Gaslands, it's also important to remember that in there too. 100%.
Well, I'll get a couple games out of my belt, and we'll see how that goes. But no, that was super fun, and I feel like I learned something that you can only learn through experience. So
it's a shame that I can tell people things, but until it's like kids, I try and tell the kids life experiences, but really they have to experience it for themselves. It doesn't matter how wise or how much I've seen. You've got to see it for yourself.
Yeah. Life is
I'm
the best
glad you're
teacher.
there. That's you'll never play BattleTech again the same, and it's glorious.
I'm excited. It was a lot of fun. So that was big. So that was a great moment for me.
I'm glad to hear it, Steve. I'm glad to hear it. Therapist, we've had our breakthrough.
Yes.
So nice.
Now, next After Dark, more trauma.
Oh, no.
Josh, what about you? You got another game on the stack?
I've got my last game in the Hinterlands. My mercenary company, packs it up. The natural disasters load up, ship out, jump away, and they take a contract on Esteros for apparently Team Warlord disruption on Esteros. And in this one, I'm essentially backing a whole bunch of warlords that are fighting over the remnants of Jade Falcon land. Because
that's a pretty realistic scenario for these sort of contracts. That is what a mercenary would be hired to do for sure.
Morally, do I love it? No. But are the Seabells there? Also not really. Yeah, this was definitely not the, hey, we've got a big fat paycheck. It's the, no, we got, you keep what you kill. It is necromonger levels of 70% salvage. Because this was, I'm still at scale 1. I do not have enough to field a lance yet, or 6,000 BV really. I'm like, okay, we're still scale 1. I drop the salvage down. I bump the base pay up. It's a little bit more well-rounded of a contract for our 4th real game. And my opponent for these games is the legendary Scott Bomer from scotsgameroom.com. They get a kick out of every time I say that, and that's why.
scotsgameroom.com.
I like his videos a lot. I really do.
I do.
Every time it pops up.
They're like the only YouTube battle reports. And he also had a Southern Assault recap, and I was like, wow, Scott, you did a whole Southern Assault recap in 20 minutes, and I took 3 hours.
There were 3 of us, though.
Yeah, that's true. But it was fun. Anyways, so I'm fighting Scott, and I'm bringing in the natural disasters. I've got my battle axe with the new Sandblaster SPA. I have my Centurion with slight brain damage. Now, technically, Hinterlands does have some extra rules. I did have to heal one of those before I started, because then he would have to withdraw from the battlefield already, according to the Hinterlands. And I was like, oh no taking brain damage pilots. You can take your 4 or 5, even your 5-6 pilot, but they do not come on with bleeding head wounds.
Right.
I did all of my contract negotiation. I roll out, and we are doing a strike. And in this one, there are the 4 buildings, and I have to scan to find out which one's the HQ building. Then I have to destroy it. My big brain tactic here was my battlefield asset was a MASH vehicle. Yeah, because nothing hurts me more than paying 30 support points to heal a boo-boo on one of my pilots. So I was like, no, what I'll do is I'll drive the medics onto the battlefield where they definitely do not belong and roll a 7-up once they're not moving and my mechs aren't moving and try to heal the Mechwarrior and throw 2 Tylenol and an ibuprofen at them.
And how many SP is this MASH unit?
16?
Oh, that's pretty good.
It's pretty
That's
good.
not bad.
If, you know, if you're at 3 or more pilot hits, it's kind of worth it. It can also heal infantry. So if you're doing a big like asset game with a lot of infantry, drive the MASH truck around, heal your infantry back up to like full thing, and you're good to go. So I can definitely see it being used in like campaign games. Like, I mean, this is a campaign game, but like, you know what I mean. Like,
I do know what you mean, and yes, it's definitely going to come into play.
I was like, yeah, you take 3 pilot hits. Oh, cool. That's 1 pilot hit to the cockpit, and then you falling, and you're at 5, and then you got to leave. So
yeah, so many of these BSP things, especially like the MASH unit and the mobile HQ and stuff like that. It's going into the campaign, my monthly campaigns. They're just that good, and watching you play these things. Because, you know, you took the mobile HQ, you took the MASH unit. They do stuff.
They do stuff. They do fun stuff. So Scott has to deploy, set up the buildings, and he pre-deploys, and I come on, and I have to bring on half my force roughly at the start. And what I do is I bring the MASH truck on, and I bring my Centurion on, and I right behind the biggest hill you've ever seen. And I was like, cool, I got 2 turns of attempting to heal before you can kill me. So I get my first heal, and I was like, sweet, 2 Tylenols to the pilot. Yes, please, Doc. Next turn, my Battle Axe comes on as he's trying to flank with his Bushwhacker. And I was like, Battle Axe just rolls up, unloads the 3 MML7s, SRM, Sandblaster SPA. First turn of me shooting, I've taken out his UAC 10. I was like, okay, that was a little much. I was like, but we did it the hard way by going through the armor first. So second turn, I was like, you know what? Maybe we can mash this again. So I get another pilot hit taken off the Centurion. I was like, at this point, there needs to be like you can only do this effect once per game. But you know what? Maybe they got some good drugs in there.
The really good drugs.
You got the morphine and Tylenol. One of my favorite memes is like the doctor slaps the Band-Aid on and gives the kiss, and he's like, that'll be 30,000 civils. I was like, yeah, that's what it feels like compared to getting free medical care on the battlefield.
There's little med patches from the BattleTech cartoon they used to knock out those elementals.
Oh yeah. Fentanyl patches.
They're powerful stuff.
Fun note, my dog got those at the vet last month. They do not do well for pets either. No. But yeah, so his Bushwhacker looking a little rough, and that's when I decide to, you know, hop the Centurion over the hill, scramble up that hill to fight an Axeman. That Axeman got an AC-20. That turn, Axeman puts that AC-20 right torso the Battle Axe. I was like, 20 damage. Oh no. How much armor you got?
Feels good.
22. I was like, that armor, like, it's not flashing red. It's pretty much black with a little red tone on the mech damage doll. I was like, okay, we just don't do that. Centurion, you've got 20 plus armor in, oh gosh, 3 places. Fight the Axeman. We do. Between the next turn, the Battle Axe and the Centurion shooting, we get him down to no shooting weapons left.
Ooh.
So all he has in it as an axe. I'm like, you know what?
That's crippled.
That's technically crippled. And Scott was like, he's crippled. He's got to start going off. And I was like, not before, as I move him up, not before I melee him. And I was like, I think I can, you know, put you down before you can axe me. P.S. I did not put him down before he can axe me.
It's a ballsy move.
Yeah. So he rolls. He gets the axe CT with the through armor crit going internal with a crit. I was like, 2 crit rolls. No, Centurion, why do you suck? It's not your commander's fault.
Definitely not the guy who told you to
what's
walk
the
up
pilot's
there.
name? Because that's whose fault it is.
The pilot's name is Iris Hammerite.
Iris has a problem. It's probably the multiple concussions.
He wasn't thinking clearly due to all the drugs.
Yeah, and the fentanyl.
And the fentanyl. Yeah.
See, stories. Now it makes sense why the Centurion did what it did.
So the Centurion tries to go for the punch. I was like, maybe I can hit the head and get you a pilot hit too. No. I just graze, I brush his shoulder. I was like, buddy.
You gingerly touch his
gently
shoulder.
Caress his shoulder.
Yeah, I rolled a punch. Not one. You gently caress him seductively.
The Axeman is uncomfortable.
But this is fun because technically the Centurion is not crippled, but it's very wounded. The battle axe just needs.
Oh, it didn't get the crits?
It did not get the crits. I was like, okay. All right, we're doing okay. The Bushwhacker tries to flank. He's like, all I need is a little bit more. And during all this, I'm still scanning. So I'm having to get real close to those buildings. Centurion flanks. He's like, take plasma rifle and SRMs in the back. And I was like, oh my gosh, take our Rack 5 in your rear. And it's like, okay. He did get internal in one other location on my rear. I was like, oh, Centurion, why are your repair bills always so high? But for the last one, I do find his HQ. I do have moved the mash truck up to try to shoot something with its 1, 2, 3 range and 1 damage. But Battle Axe just whiffs the HQ. And on that last turn, the Bushwhacker's like, maybe I can just get into armor and let the Battle Axe have its first internal damage in all these campaign games. I was like, nope, it's just bouncing off the side of the legs. I was like, no, the Battle Axe is the rock. So that was a great fun game. His Axeman did retreat off the battlefield, so it could be repaired and all new weapons can be put on.
Super nice.
Yeah. I did not hit the AC-20's ammo. That was the funny thing. I hit the AC-20 or LBX-20. I hit all the lasers. I did not hit the axe, did not hit ammo. So I kill his HQ with the battle axe, and he does hit me with his plasma rifle. Does 10 damage, hits the leg. That's fine. He does fire the SRM. He gets a cluster. He only gets 3 missiles. 2 of those SRMs hit my head on the battle axe on the last turn. I was like,
whoops.
Mash truck.
Yeah, where are you?
Where are you? So I just think it's hilarious that I go into this game with pilot hits and remove 2 pilot hits and gain 2 pilot hits. I was like, they can't keep getting away with it.
The natural disasters are now renowned for their, brave and brazen mech tactics and Dane Bramage.
Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. But yes, that was my last game. So we're doing okay. We're not dead. We don't have any salvage, but I did roll on the on-planet shop, and I did get a 10 up, so I do have the choice of purchase for a Commando or Star Slayer, and I'll have to think about that, because I need a light, but it's still a Commando.
Man, yeah, the Commando is slow, and it has no armor.
Yeah, and I'm like...
It's plenty of firepower, but just no armor. It's got less armor than a Locust.
I know, and I was like, this is one of those games where I'm like, I would take the Flea, or the Locust, or something.
Yeah. Yeah, something. If you have to have speed as your armor, take something with speed.
Take something else. So I don't know. I've got until next campaign game to think about what I want to do. It's pretty good discount, but it's still a Commando. So yeah. But that was my last one. Steve, how are the Krusty Krabs doing?
So pretty good, actually. This is the last mission of my second contract of the Mercenaries box set rule set. So I think after this, I'm going to move into Hinterlands.
Yay.
I think I got, I've done 2 full contracts. It's time to step it up, right?
Yep.
So I play Martin again and his dastardly chum bucketeers. And we're looking for payback, right? He killed one of my pilots. Thankfully, the killed pilot was the 4-5 and not the 3-4.
Nice. We don't even carve his name onto the Hall of Memories.
Right. I'm trying to think of which pilot it was. It might have been, I think I called him Samuel Ward. His nickname was Squid. So Squidward died, which is probably what Squidward would have wanted. But, so he's our poor dead pilot. But we did pick up Pearl Crabs as our extra pilot in between missions here. So played Martin again, and I get the strike mission. there are 4 buildings that have to be destroyed. And it occurs to me at this point that the Krusty Krabs have only ever done destroy buildings or kill the other team. I've rolled no other missions with this Merc group.
There are other missions, I will say that.
Yeah.
I know there are, but every time we roll on the random table, it's either meeting engagement or strike. And the one game that I played with the Marauder was the defend mission, but that wasn't with the Krusty Krabs. So again, we take 2 crabs. I take an SRM carrier and a Condor because I've decided that the SRM carrier, when it's in the rule book, when you roll damage for your BSPs, you make 1 roll. No matter how many clusters or how much damage it does, it's 1 roll. So the SRM carrier is doing 50 damage in 1 roll, which is great because the buildings only have like 30 or something. So my SRM carrier is now a building deleter, which is what we want. It is a giant building-sized eraser. Martin took the Orion, an Uziel, and a Pegasus hover tank, and a medium emplacement, not turret, despite what my notes say. Now, we're both liaison contracts, right? We roll on the complications table. This is where disaster strikes, gentlemen. With my botched roll, I give the Chum Bucketeers 2 galleon tanks to defend the buildings with. And this is not good.
You're just going easy on them, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I got to give them a little bit of an edge because, I mean, look, the Chum Bucketeers are garbage.
Aww.
And because he's not on the podcast, he can't say anything bad about my crabs. I'm sure the rest of you will do that in the Discord for me. And then, of course, Martin needs to roll on his liaison table. And the universe has a funny way of balancing things. I also get 2 galleon tanks.
Hey.
So now it's an SRM carrier, a Condor, 2 galleons, and 2 crabs versus an Orion, an Uziel, a Pegasus, a medium emplacement, and 2 galleons.
That is fantastic.
Yeah. So, of course, with the mission, I deploy half my force on my table edge, and the next turn, the other half comes in from the other side. So I make a plan, forget my plan, and deploy the units I wanted to save for the second half of the deployment. I botch it. The SRM carrier was supposed to be a surprise on turn 2
Right.
and delete a building, but I deploy it first. I'm like, aha. So I'm like, well, I can still move him and get him in medium range, and he can probably hit a building because they're immobile. This is when we look up the rules and find out that it's only 1 roll and it deletes the entire building in 1 turn. This was a horrific surprise. Right, yeah, or nothing. But I managed to hit, and I blow up a building on turn 1. Martin, just the look in his eyes was like, oh no, that has to die right now. And he did. He killed it in the first turn, which was real tragic. And it was at this point that I decided, you know what? Because it says I have to destroy the HQ and he has a lot of things on the board, I'm just going to kill all the buildings and make sure that I get it. I'm just going to kill them all and then leave. And,
one of those was an orphanage.
We have, I think, 3 field hospitals and a supply cache are the tokens that we used. So we just committed an awful lot of war crimes.
Oh, a hospital, an orphanage, headquarters, and their bank or something. Who knows?
Some other group of
a school, an elementary school.
Perfect.
Healthcare CEO building.
Too
soon. Okay.
It was not good. But what ended up happening is I ignored his mechs and his turrets almost the entire game. I just went straight for buildings all the time. And of course, his objective was to kill my commander, which was a hidden commander. He didn't know who it was. Unfortunately, of the 2 crabs, he picked correctly and started lighting up my crab, which was absolutely terrifying.
Was it the 3-4 crab? Because that's one I would have guessed.
It was the 3-4 crab. I was not very clever in my deception. I said, don't shoot that one. And that was the one I told him not to shoot. Martin is very clever and does not fail. He doesn't, fall for simple deception. So thankfully, because buildings are immobile, I'm able to commit an awful lot of war crimes. And I do kill all 4 buildings with honestly, those galleons were lifesavers because they do 5 damage. So I could sink 2 large lasers into it, a medium laser, and then the galleon could clean it up. So that was very, very handy. My red crab makes a break for it, to get off the map. And at this point, I'm not even upset because it has more armor in the rear than it does in the front. I'm like, all right, yeah, you can just shoot at me, man. That's fine. What I don't account for is 20 damage spread all over the mech. And I have to make a PSR.
We know how that goes.
Yeah. It's a 3-4, so we pass. We pass by
nice.
1. It was very close. But we pass, and then he's off the map. And now that all the buildings are dead, my blue crab is now just in a fight for his life to get off the back of the map. And I had positioned him in a great sniper position surrounded by woods, which is hard to run through. Yeah. So now I basically yeet myself off the side of a mountain, trying to get to the backboard edge and put a mountain between me and him. There is one turn where he can move his 2 tanks and one of his mechs to try to block my escape off the map. But we count the hexes and we count 2 or 3 different routes. And no matter where he moves his guys, I can go around them because the crabs run 8. Yep. And if I run, I need 7 anyway to slice it to get off the map. So we managed to get off the map. Nothing is crippled. I didn't cripple anything of his, but I blew up the buildings, and that was my objective. You completed your objective,
yeah.
That was it. And
so you actually got 150% of your battle combat pay.
Yeah, that was great. We get to commit war crimes and get paid. It was awesome.
That's nice.
So now we've completed 2 full contracts. My crusty crabs now have 2 crabs, a Caesar, the quick draw.
Is that the Caesar with the hardened armor?
Yeah. Yeah. So we got the Caesar, the quick draw, and after this last mission, we pick up a Star Slayer. So we are doing real well on mechs, not so well on pilots. We've got 2 3-4s.
They've got good hard shells with the juicy, tasty, buttery interior of the crab.
Well, so here's the deal. I had 4 pilots and I'm down to 3. 2 of them are 3-4. 1 is a 4-5. However, all 3 have participated in at least 1 track on the second mission. So they all are available to level up between this contract and the next one. So
nice.
We're actually doing okay supply point wise, but I've got a lot of mechs. So I think I'm done buying mechs for a while, or I might have to sell one that I'm not going to use. But we're in a position where we can hire a couple of Mechwarriors, upgrade the ones that we've got, and go about maybe bumping into like level 2 tracks, right? Bumping up to the 6,000 BV and playing some larger missions. So overall, the Quest of Crabs are doing great. We're really, we just keep winning. So
I would honestly say wait till you have like 8,000 BV and mechs before you go up to track 2, just because at track 2 you're going to lose some stuff, and then it's really embarrassing to go up to track 2 and be like, well, that was fun. I guess I'm going back to track 1 for this next mission.
All right.
So you want to have some backups.
Maybe we'll do one more track 1 or level 1.
Try to take a different mission this time, just for a little bit more experience.
I'm rolling the dice.
You're allowed to say, "Hey, we're going to roll until it's not one of these 2."
Live by the dice, die by the dice, Denim. I refuse.
I'm just saying.
Fate is a cruel mistress, but everything happens for a reason.
No, that is not true.
It's something people say, so I'll repeat it.
It is true. That is true. That is something people say. You are correct.
It sounds good on fortune cookies. But that is all of my missions. The Crusty Crabs are doing very well. We're sitting pretty. We got a nice stable of mechs and a decent amount of SP, so we can
doing pretty good compared to me. But then again, I haven't lost any pilots yet. Knock on wood. Where's that wood? I need a lumber.
I hope your next game you just get smoked right out of the cockpit.
No.
It's exciting.
You said it.
I paid so many insurance.
Gauss rifle to the cockpit.
That is the thing. It's like I am only technically using 5 damage guns. Like, so I can't. I feel good that I'm not like, there's no chance of me just one-shotting a pilot. Like, I have to hit them 3 times, technically, to kill a pilot. But
that's pretty much how I run my campaign games. Is if I'm the Op 4, I don't take Clan ER PPCs. I don't take Gauss rifles, just because I want to give my players something else to spend their edge on.
Yeah. Once we're swimming with people, and pilots, and like, all right, I don't want to pay for the upkeep for half of you.
Yeah, I mean, in Martin's defense, he didn't just headcat me, but he had hit me twice with different weapons. It just happened in the same turn. So I haven't forgotten. The Krusty Krabs never forget. So we're gunning for those Chum Bucketeers. We're gunning for them.
All right. Well, we'll wrap up this episode with 2 fan mails. All right. The first one comes to us from listener Mark. Mark says, "Dear Dustin, Denham, and Josh," we'll find out why. Long-time listener, first-time HPG sender. "I'm currently working my way through your backlog of great episodes. Currently on episode 60. Yeah, so Steve, you don't exist yet, technically.
Not yet.
Not yet. And I have a question that hopefully you can answer. I've been playing BattleTech since '86, although never a lot in a given year. That's fine. I mean, we all have our slow times. A few physical games here or there, and a lot of video games. As a result, I've always played BattleTech from 3025 up till about 3054. Also, again, that's, I want to say, probably the average BattleTech player.
Especially ones who started in 86, like for real.
Here's the thing. I don't get how houses or factions work in BattleTech. I've always said that the only difference between a Cretan lance and a Steiner one is that one is red and the other is blue and fires ammunition made of solid gold. But I digress.
True, though.
I've never had an actual in-game impact of picking one faction or army or house or merc company other than pure aesthetics. But listening to you guys, it seems there are some relatively hard and fast rules about picking specific factions and specific mechs for specific house or clans or whatever. So all that preamble to ask the simple question: how do you actually build a list that's specifically one house, say Steiner or Regan Reach, or do you just do what I've always done, slap whatever paint scheme on whatever mech you want to play with, and repeat the Mechbay slogan through salvage? All things are possible. Thanks so much, guys. Love the podcast. Sincerely, Mark. Thanks for writing in, Mark.
Yeah, and for real, like, when I got my first batch of stuff from the Kickstarter, I painted it all red, every single one of them, because there is a Cretan variant of almost all of them. And if there isn't, then I totally salvaged it. I 100% will take any mech and call it a Cretan mech. I have no shame.
But that's not the question. The question is, how do you know, right? How do you go about finding out what mechs are for which factions? And this is actually a good question. And
it is.
Actually, one of our plans coming up is to do an episode all about this. So hopefully, Mark, you'll get to listen to that, and we'll go into a lot more detail than we can answering a fan mail. But one of the things you can look at is the master unit list. That's kind of gives you an idea as to what's available to which faction at which time. But in short, how do you know? You can look at what mechs are manufactured in which regions, and that's a good starting spot. Also, like Dana mentioned, a lot of these factions have, kind of flavor, if you will, right? Merrics use a lot of missiles, Cretans use a lot of PPCs, energy weapons. The Federated Sons use a lot of, autocannons, and just a general feel for these groups of people, right? A little bit of flavor baked in. So
yeah, I mean, that makes sense because both Liao and Krita have catapults. The Liao one has a bunch of missiles on it, and the Krita one has 2 PPCs instead of missile pods. They're both the same mech, but one is definitely a Krita variant and one is definitely a Liao variant, just by their loadout and where they're made, because they are made on different planets.
Yeah. Now, Marcus already says that he's got Sarna open to the mech, curious about adding to see its potential options. So, first off, Sarna does normally say, like, this one is this faction specific variant. So that's a good way, like, find some of those that you're like, arrange them like, oh, I like 3 of these that Sarna says are Lyran variants. And you just like, cool. What's one other mech I like? Boom. It's probably can be Lyran. The other thing, you said that you are in that specific time era period. The old field manuals, I know it's kind of weird, but if you might have them around, a lot of them have random acquisition tables for each faction. And that's a good way to just kind of assign what mechs that you have that could be that. Because, well, as much as we would love to say, like, Merrick might have a Hollander, it's probably not going to be theirs, at least. They're not going to have a lot of them. So if you have multiple things, sure, that's fine. But the old field manuals, and now the new force manuals, they actually have rarities for mechs per faction. So like,
not only does it have mechs that are from that faction, it also has a list of lances that, like some mechs that would go together really well for that faction.
Yeah, and I think the other thing to note with a lot of this is when you decide to build something like this, it has to be entirely for flavor. Unless you have very, very picky people at your table, I have never had somebody look at me and say, Steve, you're playing Merrick, why do you have X mech? Right?
You haven't played old enough players, Steve.
Yeah.
Well, I also try not to get around those types of people, right? But no, I mean, it's a good project for you if that's something that you want to do, but don't think that it's required, right? Don't be afraid to just play what you want to play, because
agreed,
we don't get enough time at the tabletop. You might as well make it enjoyable.
Right. It's not a requirement for the games I play at all. Sometimes it makes for a fun, fluffy list. But yeah, like you said, play what you like, and through salvage, all things are possible.
I just want to note, even Force Manual Davian has the Panther 10K, the like poster boy of Kurita mechs.
Because they fight so many of the Kurita made so many Panthers that even in lore, it says this in the technical readout that Davian has salvaged so many of them that they are able to field companies of them. They just have them and have easy access to all the parts literally laying around on the ground.
Yep. They have
just giving them away.
They have the Panther. They have the Vindicator. I was like, okay. So their two most common enemies, they have their most common mech. They don't have, like, the rules say this is still rare, so you can't have an entire lance of Panthers and call it Davian. But it has like, hey, yeah, you can throw one of these in. That's what the rules in the Force Manual say. So,
yep.
Nice.
So once again, thanks for writing in, Mark. Stay tuned while we dive into this deeper. All right, and the next one.
Attention, Mechbay Podcast. I am Star Colonel Omar Bailey of the Jade Falcon clan.
The most humble.
The most humble. Okay, enough of that. It's been a while since I've written, and I want to let you know that it's been good to get back into regular listening so I can catch up on current events. Your coverage of the new mercenary contracts has inspired me to start digging into my Kickstarter and begin looking for players in the new town I moved to earlier this year. Listening to your podcast is pretty much the next best thing to hanging out at the game store in person, and I rarely go an entire episode without learning something new in a game that I've been playing for 30 plus years. Well, Omar, that's the goal, so I'm glad to hear that. One question I hope you can help involves custom missions and scenarios. Over the past few years, after getting back into the hobby with Alpha Strike, I've been compiling a folder full of various missions available out there. Alpha Strike 350 tournaments such as Alpha Strike 350 tournaments such as Southern Assault and Motor City being the two prominent ones, various scenario packets from events, even that packet Kestrel put out a while ago. I will use anything I can get a hold of. Having them in one place has helped my game group figure out something more than just battling it out to the last. So, for those of you who design these scenarios, what is your process? I can take existing scenarios and tweak them well enough, but how do you work out the really unique new ones, especially for Alpha Strike? This is a great question, especially with new mercenary stuff coming up. People are looking for mission types to play. If there were an easy answer to this question, I'd be writing for CGL, right?
That's true.
It's a tough question. There are a lot of things to balance in all of this. So if I had to pick one thing, I would say think of a narrative event, right? That's what I like to do. I go, okay, what are my players doing? And then I tried to build the game mode around what they're attempting to do to make it exciting, right? Sometimes I base it on the planet, so I'll have weather conditions or secondary objectives that they can do, either pass or fail to influence later games. That's what I do for my campaign. If you're looking for something more competitive, I would absolutely encourage you to make them symmetrical missions, because that way you can both try to do the same thing if it's for a tournament. Denim, I know you do a lot of campaign stuff. How do you do some of your missions?
Some might say there's only like really 6 different mission types that you can do in Classic, and everything else is just flavor. With Alpha Strike, because the scope is bigger, you can have more mechs out on the field. You can make it grander in scope. You can have the different things like you were saying. Put more varied objectives in there because you've got more mechs to play or more units to play with. Don't be afraid to tell a story in your scenario mission. I mean, don't write a novel or anything, but add some flavor, like something that you saw on a TV show or something that inspired you in a book. Find some way to put that in there. It's a lot of trial and error, and not all of them are going to be good. But through playtesting, you'll figure out which ones work, and you'll start to find a rhythm, and they will become a little bit easier after that. But basically, it's write a mission, put it out there, see what's wrong with it, because things will be wrong. Take notes, and then it's an iterative process.
Yeah, and have them.
But like you said, starting with the ones that exist and just modifying them is definitely the way to start.
And if he's already got that all compiled, I'm going to see if he can send me those so I don't have to go hunting for them.
Nice.
And I'll compile my own. That sounds like a great plan. So if you hear this episode, send me those. I'd love to see them.
My advice, steal. Feel no shame about stealing. You're already doing it, so keep going. Just have fun with it. Like, the process is you want to make something that people enjoy, that people left the table and like, that was neat. I will do something of theirs again. So it doesn't have to be purely sanitized or perfectly balanced. Like, just make sure, like, read it and be like, does this seem fun? And then read it from the other side. Does that seem fun to get shot and lose this? Like, will this generate action? Because I've played some missions where I was like, yeah, this is a mission. I know how to do it, but it's not going to be fun. Oh, I don't need to actually, like, shoot. I just need to, like, roll dice on objectives and try to do things. Well, that's not fun. That doesn't force interaction between me and my opponent. So, yeah.
Like blowing up 4 buildings without engaging the other guy's mechs?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, that can have its own stories in it, but make sure that if that's what you're going for, that's what your mission is designed around.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is what he doesn't say in this is it just says making missions. It doesn't say for tournaments or for narrative games. It doesn't specify what he's building them for, and that kind of matters, right? It matters a lot how you do that.
It does. So like Josh said, steal first of all. Find out what works and then modify. The more you modify missions, the easier it becomes to create new ones out of thin air. But it is, again, not an easy process.
No. So prepare for reading, proofreading, send it to a friend who won't be playing in it and have them proofread your stuff, because a number of times I see people like, hey, this is my mission. And I go to read this and I go, you've got an error or an ambiguity. Am I allowed to do this? Am I allowed to do that? Just write it as if you're writing your mission to a 5-year-old, right? Yes. And just explain it as best you can. If you're going to use keywords, have a glossary, explain what your keywords mean in the mission type, because a number of times I look for what is capture or what is scan. How do I scan an objective, right? Like, have that in your rule packet. That's really important.
All right. Well, thanks for writing in, Omar. Can't wait to hear from you next time. Well, folks, that's been an episode. Another long one. All games played. I swear we'll get some actual, I don't want to say actual content, but actual, like, educational content soon, right?
I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
I have so much knowledge to share.
But that's it for us tonight, folks. If you are doing some traveling this holiday after this episode comes out, just a reminder, we have hours of bonus episodes on our Patreon at patreon.com/mechbay. We just finished our What If episode on what we would be playing if BattleTech stopped existing and they stole all of our models.
It's a really terrible episode. The
That
sounds good, but it's just such dark content.
It's so sad.
Yes, we really still want to be playing BattleTech.
That's it. That's the lesson. As always, we'd like to thank our patrons at Patreon for keeping the lights on in the Bay. If you would like to get more of our Mechbay goodness, please check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and of course, you can always join the conversation on our Discord. As always, keep playing games and having fun. Like I said before, we don't get enough game time, so make sure you enjoy what you do get to play.